homeschool is feeling a little out of step after the holidays, you're not alone. You are not behind. You are just in need of a reset, just like us. Welcome to the New Year Homeschool Reset series, where we are building a playlist that is going to help us have a homeschool that is motivated, back aligned, and full of connection and progress, right? So that's the plan. We are in episode 1. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on an episode. Come along with us as we motivate our kids, we revamp our schedule, and we revamp our space so that we can thrive in this new year. I'm Jordan Ashley, and this is the most magical homeschool on earth. I am so glad you're here, pal. I don't know about you, but after every break, I always notice the same 3 things that makes our homeschool feel hard, heavy, difficult. And today we're focusing on fixing the first one. Next episode's all about number 2, and number 3, it's all about what makes it all stick, the motivation piece. So that's all on coming up soon. Let's dive into today's episode, focusing on our clarity and some actionable steps to get us started, get us going. Here's what I've noticed, and I bet you have too. Let me know down in the comments that we're all in this together. If you get the reference, then you're my people. Hello. Welcome. So after a homeschool break, we didn't all of a sudden forget how to teach. It's not that our kids have completely forgot everything that we already taught them. It's that expectations have shifted over the holidays. Our tolerance for hard things has slightly decreased, or we've gotten out of the rhythms that were so successful earlier on in the previous year. So we just need to revamp that a little bit and revisit what was working, what wasn't, and maybe make some new plans, maybe get a little bit of clarity. And that is all about step number 1. Step number 1, we are going to reflect. Yes, I know that seems very cliche, but before we change anything, before we restart anything, we need to do a quick reflection, not a deep dive, just a quick reflection, get that hard data on what worked, what didn't, and what we're going to change. So we're going to dive into what that looks like for us. Just so you know, I made a free printable workbook that goes along with this that we've used for years, and I'm happy to share that with you in our free resource library at ourtogetherfamily.com. And I'll also link it down in the description below if you would like to work on it alongside us and use it as you see fit throughout this homeschool reset series. So hopefully it's helpful to you. But let's jump into some of the questions that I found the most useful for this step. So the way that we do it, we always start off with at least one win, something that we feel we did really well or are really thankful for from this past several months of homeschool. Now, we just feel that gratitude and looking at the positive is going to impact the rest of this planning process. If we don't, it's all down here from here, right? Downhill from here. Wow, I do that a lot. Tongue-tied. Okay, now also next step, what did we love? There are so many things that I loved about this last year. We did so many unit studies. We had a lot more connection in different activities that we really enjoyed. I pivoted a lot more from our core curriculum. Still use it quite a bit, but pivoted some. So those are some of the things that we really loved. Up next, we are focusing on what was hard. What might need support in this upcoming season. This is something that's going to look different based on each individual child and each family, each homeschool. And for me, I also might have something that was hard or something that I need to work on to facilitate a more peaceful, successful homeschool and home environment in this upcoming semester, upcoming term. So I'll fill in a few things here, and then I'll move on to what we both hated, essentially. So what did not work for me? What did not work for my daughters? Did they have something that they really disliked? Not just once, not just twice, not just even for a week in a hard season when they were trying to learn something new, but something that they didn't like for the entirety of our first half of the year. So I'll think through, do we need to reduce the amount of this particular item? Do I need to switch it out entirely? Or perhaps is it something we just need to push through? And of course, that's going to look different for everyone. And then we focus on what worked, what moved the needle,
What worked to help me reach the goals from our first semester? Did we use something that helped us find success academically, socially, emotionally, all of the other well-roundedness that we look for in educating our children?
Number 2, we are going to reset our priorities. Now, I am I want to try it all kind of mom. Try everything, which I will not sing. You're welcome. Is really my motto. I really love experiencing new things and seeing, oh, maybe this will be really fun and we can add it into our curriculum. Or maybe I can make a new unit study that's 200 pages. I may or may not have done that this last semester while doing another unit study I had already made. So I really enjoy that type of stuff, and it's fun for me, but can also lead to burnout, and truly it's unnecessary for success. Now, success looks different for every person, every homeschool family, and I'd love to know what success looks like for your homeschool down in the comments below, because we all have little different opinions on that, and I just think that it's really cool to learn from each other, and I would love to know what's important for you. Okay, we're going to jump back into the workbook that I made so that I can stay on track, and we're going to talk about academics, things like, are we going to follow the state standards? Are our goals to personalize it for each child? Like, my daughter needs some extra spelling practice this year, or the tail end of the year, while our reading is excelling and comprehension and grammar and math are doing like awesome. So we're going to prioritize doing some spelling and a few other things as well. But that is our academic track. Then we're going to talk about our social goals for the rest of the year. Do we need to reevaluate our co-ops and our other social spaces like teams and sports and other extra classes that we take, our extracurriculars, enrichment type classes, other ways that we find social spaces. Currently, I'm absolutely loving all of ours, so I don't think we'll be making any changes in that area this upcoming semester. My daughter also really loves it.
Now we also have our social and emotional, like character growth kind of things that we want to work on for this year. And since this is a little more personal for my kids, I'm just going to fill this in on my own. And then we want to focus on our life skills. So that is very wide category, and we have quite a few. I'm only going to focus on the ones that we are adding in this upcoming semester, things that are a little new, things that we might have just started like really practicing the previous semester, and we want to focus on it more this upcoming semester. So I will fill this in, and I'll continue to like jot things down as I think of them throughout the week. Speaking of jotting down, I always add in lots of space because I am just like a serial. I'm going to jot it down on 20 million pieces of paper and then forget where I put all those papers at. So I try to keep it all in one place. I love lists, and I like coming back to them later on, kind of finding some priorities. And it just really helps me to write it down, even when I don't necessarily look back at it as frequently as I plan. It does help me to write it down.
I had to get some coffee. So, okay, we love this step, but it can get a little overwhelming because we end up listing so many different things, and I really advocate for getting the kids involved in this step. Bring them in once you've listed off some things. Ask them what would they love to do, what were their priorities, what did they enjoy, things like that, and make a long list. But then prioritize a few, 1, 2, maybe 3 from each category. It's going to be specific to you, right? So prioritize those things so that you can focus on them throughout the rest of the school year, but you can always add in extra things if you have the time and capacity, and you can switch them out if a new priority arises. All of a sudden, you realize a big social emotional like need, or a character development thing that needs to be addressed, things like that. So this is not set in stone. We get that flexibility to learn and grow alongside of our kids and see what they need in the moment. And that's not to say we should always be changing, but we get the flexibility to do that as homeschoolers. So thankful. Now, step number 3, this is the key one, the one that is make or break for our homeschool in the new season, whether it is a break from the holidays or a break from travel or whatever it may be after we've been sick. We slowly start our school. We do not do our full schedule at the beginning. We start slow and we build block by block. Again, that's one of those flexibilities of homeschool that we absolutely love. There are so many different benefits. Let me know your favorite down in the comments below. I have so many, but this is one of them. We can get so much done in less time than maybe a traditional school setting would. And I found that even if we have a slower start to our new year, etc., then we still tend to come out way ahead by the end of it. And even with a few breaks here and there in between. So that's one of our favorite benefits. Now I'm going to
show you what an example schedule might look like and how we choose to rebuild block by block in just a second.
But first, let's talk about what those blocks are. First, the most important one, in my opinion, in getting started, or in general, this is an important part of our homeschool and our family life, is connection. Now that can look a lot of different ways, whether you do a morning basket, a read aloud, you do some dedicated playtime doing whatever it is that they want to do, you're doing a craft, etc. Maybe you were looking at a picture book, even if your kids are a little older, or you're doing game school. We love game school. We have a whole section here, and upstairs we have like an entire wall of games. Let me know if you want to see it. We do poetry tea time. Those are just a few examples of ways that we connect before starting the hard stuff. Now our other blocks look like your traditional curriculums. So our main curriculum blocks, our core subjects, and each one of those is its own block. This next one definitely ties for one of our favorites, and if I could allow myself to have the flexibility enough to only do this in our school, I would, but I do tend to still need those core curriculums that we use, our spines that we'll talk about later in this series. But my absolute tied favorite, I just said that earlier, is the fun learning aspects, those magical extras that naturally incorporate all of those learning concepts that we'd be learning in our workbooks, you know? So that's our unit studies, our project-based learnings, our arts, our writing, journaling. We have our special journals that we write to each other. Let me show you. Okay, so here they are. This is my youngest, well, no, she's my middle daughter now. I have a baby. We'll talk about how we homeschool the baby later on in the series, but this is the Mom and Me draw and tell journal that I made for our littlest. So we will draw to each other. I'll draw something, she draws something, and then we talk about it. And this is a great thing to keep her not only engaged and doing some independent work, but we have these special memories between each other, and we get to practice some of our like handwriting skills, which she's already starting to do. She's kind of in preschool at this point, but we are practicing handwriting and some spelling and things like that, and she's really enjoying it. And then for my older daughter, my second grader, we have a little bit more advanced, but we still have our like primary lines that we use to give her a little bit more space, and she does practice her handwriting a little bit. Still, we definitely need to work on that, but we will write to each other, and we usually have similar journal prompts, and that's just a way to keep them engaged, and I really love that. And these are some of the units that I made. These are the ones we're working on this year. These are the same one, but I can't decide which supplier to use into going forward. So if you have a preference of which one you like better, one's a little bit brighter on the outside, but then the other one, the opposite one, is more bright on the inside. Decisions. Let me know in the comments if you have a preference. And the one that we are currently finishing is our Through the Wardrobe study, which is from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So those are just some of our fun activities that we do. We also do tons of field trips, lots of trips to Disney where we learn, grow, and explore all the time. I used to be an educator there, so we do a lot of learning at the parks. We do a lot of cooking with intentional like lessons built in, whether it is like the natural lessons you learn while cooking, or we will be adding fractions in early second grade, you know? So there are so many different things that you can learn naturally, which you're already homeschool family. You know that, just a reminder. Okay, as promised, here is an example of what our first few weeks might look like. Now, again, it will be varied slightly based on what like they actually do that day. I roll with the punches those first few weeks, and your week might look different than ours, but this is what it might look like for us and is pretty typical. So day 1 and 2, we're gonna have one connection block. We're gonna have one core learning block. So we are going to do language arts for the first day, and that's it. No math, no math workbook, no like hardcore math. That feels like school. We're not going to do more than the one. And then we are going to do fun learning activities. Now, I might have some math in like cooking or gameplay or something like that, but we're not going to do it in our workbook. And then I will make sure that we add at least one thing that my daughter really wants to do as part of the connection piece, so that she feels like she is a part of it. We want to grow lifelong learners that love learning, and I want to exhibit that to my kids as well. That's one of our core things. Like, I want to show her that I still love learning, and that it's fun and it's a part of life, and we should look forward to it. So we want to make sure they do some things that they really enjoy. Day 3, we are adding another subject. We are already doing that core piece of connection. We are maybe doing more than one. Then we are going to be jumping into some of our language arts, and then we are adding on our math curriculum, as well as, of course, keeping in those fun pieces as well. Now, day 4 is typically when we start introducing some independent work, some independent learning objectives, some work time that she can do. Now, this is going to vary based on the age of your kids and how much you practice independent work, because it is something that, at least in my experience, needs to be like developed and trained. It will happen naturally over time, but the more that you practice it, the better it'll be and the more you'll get. So just like with anything, right? Now, this is essential when you're homeschooling multiple ages, and definitely when you have a baby. We have a little one who is almost a year old. So this past year, we have been homeschooling with a baby. Be sure you are subscribed for that, as I mentioned earlier, because we will be talking about all those strategies that have gotten us through this past year later on in the series. Now, on our last day of our week, our homeschool week, we are going to do either a field trip, or we are going to do a day of like unit study only learning. Now, we love our unit studies, and we did a lot of that during the like December time period. We did a lot of unit study stuff, and we tend to do those often. My daughter will ask to do those only every single day, but we definitely can oblige from time to time because we get enough work done in the week to make that happen. Now, that is just going to be a fun day. We're going to do unit studies, and we're going to learn while we are having fun. Week 2, we are adding in our family subjects, and by week 3, we are usually full steam ahead. We're doing just about everything, and we don't have a lot of bumps along the road, typically after we reach that mark. We've built up slowly. The kids are engaged. They're used to it. We are all getting back in the same rhythm, including myself, and we are learning what rhythm is working best in this season because it changes so frequently, especially when you have younger kids. I know you know. So that is what a typical few first weeks will look like for us. If you have any other tips, let me know in the comments. Next up, we are going to do a quick reset of our materials. Now, this is essential, and I'm not going to do the full room reset and everything that goes into that in this video because that's literally the next episode. But today we are only going to focus on one thing and one thing only, and we are going to get a basket. We are going to get a cart, a homeschool cart, or whatever it looks like for your home, and we are going to put in the materials that you will need the first week, and that's it. Just your first week materials, whether that is your core curriculum, your read aloud, whatever it might be, that's going in that homeschool cart. And I will have videos all about that, what our homeschool cart looks like in the future, and you'll get a good glimpse of it in the next episode, how I restocked it for our upcoming season of the new year. So stay tuned. And in the next episode, I'm going to show you the exact system we use in order to avoid the mess and stress cycle. Your New Year Homeschool Reset starts with 3 moves. Reflect on what worked and what didn't. Choose a few priorities, 1, 2 from each category to get you going. And step 3, be sure you rebuild your rhythm block by block. Don't go full steam ahead, just ease on into it to have the most magical beginning to your year and your homeschool so that you could build a culture around your homeschool in your home that you both love, that you all love. Be sure you subscribe to that notification bell so you don't miss out on a video, especially as we are journeying alongside each other for this homeschool reset, and we will build a homeschool that we love together. Now, I would love to know what is hardest for you in this season, because it might be different for you than it is for us, and we can encourage each other in that, or maybe we have the same struggles and we're just gonna power along together. So let me know down in the comments, and until the next episode, I'll see you soon, pal.